we are taking, which was recommended to us even as children. I remember that growing up, they'll give us one multivite. We used to call it multivite every day. And there was some right. So there were some liquid ones that were sweet, and then there was, as you grow older, they change it to the little pills or capsules, which we didn't enjoy because it wasn't sweet. But even the more when you grow older. So when we grow older, so we're talking about elderly, we're talking about geriatrics. So when you grow older, you start losing a lot of things. You start losing muscle mass. You start losing the elasticity of your blood vessels. You start losing, even the size of the brain is smaller as you grow older. So many things. I mean, think about how many pumps your heart has gone through in 65 years, in 75 years. These are muscles, So there is wear and tear. Things starts to diminish. The bone starts to become thinner and weaker. So many reasons. So, for example, calcium and vitamin D that you need for your bones, you may not need much when you're 20, 25 growing, but you're going to need a lot more when you're 65 and 70 and you're not going out as much in the sun. Now you begin to need a lot more vitamin D and you need a lot of more calcium. So since we are in a situation where we cannot check on these things on a regular basis, the safest thing to do is to supplement at the safest, quantity. Yes, we don't want you to have it too much, but like we know, too much is not as bad as too little. So even if you take too much, and I don't want it to sound like you cannot get too much, you can get too much.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
But you're safer supplementing, and your doctors should be able to guide you on this is how much you take to supplement if we're not able to test. In societies or systems where we're able to test, then you can say, okay, I have enough, I don't have to take. But if we can't test, then we're safer just doing those supplements. And if, as we grow older, the need for those supplements, it increases. The quantity or the amount that you need to take increases. And we can look at the different ones, like vitamin D, like you said, becomes very important for the bone, becomes very important for those of us that still have some hair follicles on our head. Vitamin D and vitamin C, you need to think about those things. Like we said last week, vitamin B12 and folic acid for dementia, for memory loss. That's very, very important.
Why is B12?
One of the dementia is lack of vitamin B12. So when people do not have enough vitamin B12, they tend to have memory loss earlier than the normal, average populace. So one of the things you do in evaluating for dementia in anybody, the first thing you do is to check their vitamin B12 level. And you will be surprised how much you find. If somebody has B12 deficiency and they have dementia and you replace the B12, it's one of the most, outstanding difference that you can see.
Really?
In a patient. It's night and day if it is due to the B12 deficiency. So that is very important, something as simple as that. And you can, if you don't know, you just let the person be. So what we want is not to let you lack that B12 to get to that point. Same thing with folic acid. The brain mass, the heart muscle. The heart muscle also is affected. You talked about homocysteine the last week. That is instrumental in brain function as well as in cardiac function. That's the heart function. So you want supplements like folic acid, to reduce that risk with homocysteine. So very simple, but if you don't know, there's nothing you can do about it. So the easiest way that you can, mitigate that is to take the supplements. and prevent it. So,
okay, excellent. We're going to have to take a short break right now, Doc, and then we will be right back. Folks, don't go away. Welcome back. I'm here with Dr. Kunle Adedeji, and he is a geriatrician, and he runs his practice in El Paso, Texas. The practice is called Kingsway Medical Center.
Kingsway Medical Center.
Kingsway Medical Center, and it focuses on geriatrics, which is the study and treatment of older people. Is that correct? What's the exact definition of geriatrics?
Geriatrics is the care of elderly people. So of elderly people, and we define that as anyone older than 65.
So 65 is the official age. But when do seniors start? When do people start getting all these breaks and all these? All right, so you have surrounded by a lot of wise.
Yes, they teach.
Absolutely. So why we're talking so much about nutrients and nutrition, folks, is that and you've probably heard me talk about it as well. Because the importance of the digestive system. There is so much that we're now beginning to find out how what goes on if you're in your gut, if it's unhealthy, how it affects so many systems in the body, including the brain, the cardiovascular system, including the lungs, the other parts of the body, your kidneys. If you don't get it right with your guts, if you think about it, your body, every cell of your body needs nutrients, and it needs oxygen, it needs specific vitamins and minerals to function properly. The way your body gets those vitamins and minerals mostly is through the gut. If the gut is unhealthy, it won't be able to digest, it won't be able to extract those vitamins and minerals and other nutrients, and it won't even be able to absorb them into the bloodstream and then send them to the tissues where it's needed. So a healthy gut is super, super, super important. And then, of course, you have to put the right nutrients in it. So we're always talking about the gut if you've seen our past shows. So we've talked about vitamin B12. We talked about vitamin D. I think we also need to talk about potassium.
We've talked about potassium. Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about potassium, and we'll talk about a little bit about constipation in the elderly as well.
Okay, so let's quickly touch on potassium. So as relates to the elderly, potassium, of course, is important for everybody, for heart function, for heart rhythm, the electrical functioning of the heart. That is very important. So as we grow older, we find that there's a lot of potassium in the muscles. As we begin to lose muscles, the potassium in the elderly also begins to drop. One of the other reasons for that is the fact that we have a lot of people taking diuretics, like Modiretic, and they
call them water pills or something.
Water pills. So they are blood pressure medicine, right? Where you urinate a lot. So when you urinate a lot more than the body wants to, one of the things you flush out is potassium. Mm-hmm. When you have diarrhea, for example, and you have a lot of diarrhea, one of the things you lose is potassium. Mm. So in addition to the fact that the potassium is already low, because the potassium is stored in muscles, right? So when you lose that muscle mass, there's not a lot of storage. And so the potassium level is down. And that can be dangerous for the body. So the targeted amount of replacement, and that's the difference from potassium and the supplement we've talked about, that needs to be carefully, replaced. That it's not too much, it's not too little. Too little is bad, too much is bad. So, but we need to understand that happens in the elderly, and our colleagues should be able to help with that. There's a simple test to do for that to see that your potassium is normal. There's certain things that you are using that they know would cause that, and they should be able to help with, enlightening our elderly on the importance of low potassium and the replacement if it is needed. I think we mentioned a little bit about fats the last time. It is important to know, the kind of oil we use, very, very important. And I'm sure you probably have an expertise in this more than myself, but I know a lot of oil that we use in Nigeria and here, anywhere, that is not good for the body. And that is important that we talk about that, we know about that. We do a lot of fried stuff. And it's important to know which is healthy and clog the blood vessel, causing heart problems, causing dementia. Because all these things, they build up in the blood vessel. They end up causing these diseases of the elderly. The biggest one is dementia.
Right. And like we were saying during the break, that things like people will not like it when I'm saying this, but certain vegetable oils, mentioned canola oil, mentioned groundnut oil, and a few others. If they're at lower temperatures, it may not be that much of a problem. But once they start getting to be high temperatures, which is what happens when you fry stuff, plantain, all these other things, what happens is that they change their chemical composition and they become very, very reactive in the body, and they can cause very toxic chemicals. So the more you eat of this fried stuff, all these different fried foods, the more they're going to damage the lining of your blood vessels. They can also damage parts of your brain as well over time. So you want to start being aware of this. I mean, I always say, by the time you get to be 30 years of age, the honeymoon is over. Your body, that's when things begin to plateau out. And then by 40, you now begin to see the effects of old age. Really, by 40, that's when we know that our eyesight is not the same as it used to be. That's when sometimes we have sleep problems. Sometimes we don't have the same amount of energy that we used to have. But so just know this. And once you're over 30, you have no excuse. You have to now start taking responsibility for your age. So absolutely. Yes, fried food, you want to avoid fried food. Time has gone again. So we're going to take a short break now. And then we'll be back for the final thing. We're going to talk about constipation, but we also want to talk about other drugs that we need to be careful with the elderly. So we'll be right back, folks. All right, welcome back, folks. I'm here with Dr. Kunle Adedeji, who is the Chief Medical Director of Kingsway Medical Center. We are talking about concerns of the elderly. All right, constipation.
Okay, so let's quickly delve into constipation. Constipation is a big problem with the elderly for numerous reasons. The biggest one is the fact that they're not moving around as much as they were moving before. So one of the way the intestine moves is because the body is moving. That stimulates the intestine and allows easy bowel movement. So that's key. They're not moving as much as before. Number two, they are not drinking enough water like they were drinking before. And there may be several reasons for this. The biggest one is the fact that they don't want to get up from the bed or the chair to go to the restroom. So that's a big one. So, and if they have things like incontinence, then the more that they don't even want to drink water. So because they just don't want to go to the restroom. So that's very, very important that we know that and encourage them that it's more important to drink water, go to the restroom, and that will allow, it will reduce constipation. Medication also is a big part in constipation. So pain medication, a lot of pain medication will cause constipation. We know that we have a lot of people with arthritis in Nigeria, a lot of people with joint pain, and they take a different kind of pain medication. We move around as much as done, and now it's once in 3 days, then there's a problem. So we want to know what they were doing before. The best is if they are going every day, they go once a day. All right, so I would like to pass across which will elderly. Any new medication has to be taken serious. It's called BS criteria, and it has a long list, hundreds of medication that are dangerous for the elderly. And I think our colleagues can look at that, and they will see a whole lot of lists. Sometimes you're like, what is left for me to use? It's good to be aware of it, because sometimes you will still use it, but then you can give a good advice on what to expect. More education in advising our elders.
Love it. Thank you so much. Time has flown by again. I hate it when this happens. But thank you so much. I just want to mention of enzymes, maybe having the wrong gut. So the gut bacteria may be deficient. The good, quote unquote, good gut bacteria may be deficient. Right. So enzymes, good gut bacteria, fiber, which is known as a prebiotic. These are all things that's constipation. If you want to know more about enzymes and probiotics and prebiotics, we've done a lot of research and study to find out which ones work best for the African person. So reach out to our staff. I think you'll be able to find information at the end of the video. Of course, you can also watch all our videos archived on our website, brainandbodyfoundation.org. And with that, unfortunately, we have come to the end. So, Kunle, thank you so much again for this time. I hope we can call upon you in the future. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dayo. Thank you for all you do for our people. Thank you.
And I appreciate your support too, as always. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
All right, folks, you've heard it. Have a good rest of the day. Remember to stay alert, stay healthy, stay strong, and stay tuned for next week, and we shall be back with some more valuable content, applicable content. See you. Take care.
NTA, you can't beat the rich.